Great. Welcome to Tuesday's ELA class. Remember that when you're watching the video, your notes should look exactly like mine the whole time. So if ever I underline something, you should go ahead and underline it. The one exception is that if ever I highlight something, that's really just to draw your attention, and that's where I want you looking. For now, we're going to start with today's objective, so make sure you're filling this in. I will be able to determine the meaning of simile. I spelled that wrong, so let's go back. I will be able to determine the meaning of similes or idioms. That's going to be a new word for us. By writing my own definition in my own words. Then I'm going to circle that, choosing the correct multiple choice based on the main idea of the rest of the sentence. Pause now if you need to catch up on notes. We're going to be moving quickly, so we're now on to vocab. Simile, a comparison that uses like or as. We already know that one, so I'm going to put a check mark. We covered that. The next one we're going to do is literal. This is a new one, so make sure you're really trying to get this one. Literal is used to describe things that mean exactly what the words mean. For instance, and I'm going to use a sentence here, or an example here. You might have heard the word horseplay before. Horseplay's literal meaning is horses playing. Put a star there because we're going to come back to that in 1 second. The last vocab word we have today is idiom. I'm going to write it down a little low so I can make it visible. Idiom, a phrase or group of words that has a meaning that is not literal. So we know horseplay, if literal, means horses playing. However, if you've ever been told to stop the horseplay, that just means the messing around, because horseplay is most often used in a way that is not literal. It has a meaning that is different from what the words actually say. And our job today, looking back at the objective, is to determine the meaning of similes or idioms. And the way we do that is with context clues. So we're going to get a general sense of the passage and replace the idiom with our own words. So first step is identify the general sense, replace the idiom with a phrase you know, and then reread to see if it makes sense. We're going to go ahead and practice that now. Again, go ahead and pause your video if you need to catch up on notes or anything. Good, we're back. I'm going to go ahead and complete this first one with you, and then your job is to complete the next two on your own and come back and check for the answers. So, time flies when you're having fun. Time flies is not an actual literal saying. Time doesn't really fly with wings or in the air or anything, but the general sense is that they're having a good time. So you'll notice that my general sense isn't really complicated. It's just a couple of words, maybe 4 or 5, sometimes 2. And now I'm going to explain to my own words. So time flies when you're having fun. Time isn't really flying. It's just moving fast because you're enjoying it. So time is moving fast. Go ahead and pause your video now. I want you to take about 1 minute to complete these next two on your own. When we come back, we'll go over the answers. Give it your best shot. All right, we're back. We're looking at, he's got a real chip on his shoulder after everyone thought he was a hopeless case. So you've done this too. I identified the general sense. Reading the last part of the sentence, it says he was a hopeless case. Everyone thought so. So I know he was doubted. That's this first part of my general sense. I'm going to highlight it just to draw your attention there. I know he was doubted. And if something's on your shoulders, maybe you think about Atlas holding the globe on his shoulders, that really weighs on you. So it weighs on you, and it's tough. And so knowing that he's got this tough He's got a real chip on his shoulder after everyone thought he was a hopeless case. I then explained it in my own words. And I said, he is motivated by hard times. He took what people used to think he was hopeless and used it to really motivate him and push him forward, showing some good grit. Pause now if you haven't completed this third one. If you have, just wait 1 second. We'll pop up the answers and we'll go over that as a pair. They got a real taste of their own medicine in that game. The other side's forwards ran straight through them. For me, the general sense that I took away from this was that they had a bad game because the other side's forwards really dominated them. And knowing that they had a bad game and the other side used their forwards to run straight through them, and I know this from other times I've heard this phrase, I know that own medicine, and I'm reading my explain in your own words right here. I know that own medicine means the other team used their strategy against them. And I replaced that in the sentence. The other team used their own strategy against them in that game. The other side's forwards ran straight through them. And that to me makes sense, and so I know that I've correctly identified and explained the idiom, and now I can figure out what this figurative language means. Now, in pairs, and if your partner's YouTube video is not quite done yet, feel free to maybe try the first one on your own or go back and re-watch a little bit of the video so you really understand what's going on. But I'd like you to try these in pairs. Remember, stay focused while you're working in pairs. Make sure you're only talking to one another and that you're staying on topic the whole time. When you're done, click play, and all the answers are going to pop up. I'm not going to walk through every one individually, but a general idea of what the answers are will be up on the board. At this point, go through with your partner and double check your answers against the ones I've displayed in numbers 1 through 3. In 1 second, we're going to go ahead and look at number 5, but check your answers on 1 through 3 with your partner. All right, so I'm going to read it and then go through my answers to double check your own. How did you find out that Jill was engaged? I got the information from a very reliable source. You mean Jill told you so herself? That's right. I got it straight from the horse's mouth. And so my general sense of this is that Jill was the actual source. And I know this because I read this line. Jill told you herself? That's right. And then the other person says, I got it straight from the horse's mouth. So to me, horse's mouth means the person themselves. So the person who the rumor is about or the information is about was the one who actually said it. So I have my own. Now I'm going to look at the explanation. So is it literal? Did a horse really say that Jill was getting married? That one doesn't make sense, so I know it's not literal. If you're wondering what literal means, look back at the front of your notes. B, the person who said it looked like a horse. That could be true, but there's really no information about what Jill looks like in here, so I'm going to rule that one out for now. The information is from an original source. And so the original source about the wedding, the engagement, would probably be either the bride or the groom. And the bride in this case is Jill. So I'm going to leave C on the table right now because that sounds like it could be. And the information doesn't make sense. Let's see. I'm going to fill that in this paragraph itself. I got it. The information doesn't make sense. So that doesn't sound quite right. Let's go back and fill in C. That's right. I got the information from an original source. You have to sort of take out the is a little bit to make it make sense, but I got the information from an original source, and I know that the original source is Jill in this instance. And so C is my answer. Thanks for watching this video and taking great notes. Please flip to your next sheet. At the very top, it says, independently complete these next 5. You're going to be doing the same exact thing. When you're done with that, you'll log on to Socrative to complete your exit ticket. Make sure your answers go into Socrative. You don't need to rip it off your packet. That's just there so you can write if you want. Thank you, and keep working hard.